That is live. Perfect. Welcome everyone to the ENBE Webinar 2020. Today we are joined by Mott MacDonald, and we've already had our technical issues, partly on my fault already, with computers not working, updating, all sorts. So hopefully from now on we will have a smooth process throughout. And my name is Ben McGarrity. I'm the Vice President of the Edinburgh Napier Built Environment Society. I'm a fourth year student doing civil engineering, and I've been a part of the society ever since first year. So without further ado, we're already 10 minutes late. So I'll pass on to Annie, and she will introduce Mott MacDonald. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Yeah, I'm Annie. I'm the treasurer. I'm also a civil engineering student, third year. But our speakers today are Ryan Young and Calum Beattie. So Ryan is a graduate civil engineer of Glasgow Caledonian University, working in the water department at the Belfast office. And Calum is an electrical engineering graduate of Edinburgh University, not Napier, but that's okay. We'll accept him today. And he's also working in the water department at the Edinburgh office. But I will let them tell you a little bit more about what they do. Over to you guys.
Okay, yeah, so I'm Ryan Young. I've been a civil engineer at Mott MacDonald for just over 3 years now. And Calum is an electrical engineer, and I think it's just over a year you've been with the company.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So yeah, this is just a presentation to just kind of give you a bit of an insight on Mott MacDonald and the graduate program. So who are we? So we're a global engineering, management and developing consultancy, focused on guiding our clients through many of the planet's most intricate challenges. So the company was established in 1989 with the merger of two long-established engineering consultancies. So Mott Hay and Anderson was a big transportation company, and Sir M. MacDonald and Partners was a large water-related engineering company. So they formed, and I suppose that's Mott MacDonald. So where do we work? So Mott MacDonald's involved in, this is an insight in 10 of the sectors, or sorry, 12 of the sectors we work in, but they're involved in all sorts. So obviously Calum and I are both involved in the water industry. But as you can see, it ranges through buildings, communications, there's health projects, transport. I think the Belfast office, it's heavily involved in buildings and transport, and water's now up and coming there. And I suppose, Calum, you can say Edinburgh is involved in a lot more than that, I believe.
Yeah, Edinburgh's got a kind of range of stuff. It's got energy, building services, water, transport, kind of project management roles as well. So yeah, there's a wide variety, just even in the Scotland and Northern Irish offices.
Okay.
So just thought we'd give you a kind of couple of examples just around the world of kind of projects that Mott MacDonald kind of get involved in. I've tried to choose built environment ones, so I haven't worked on these personally, but hopefully gives you a little taster. So this first one here is one in New Zealand, and it was to design the tallest residential tower, which sits at 187 meters tall and about 56 stories high. So this building has over 200 apartments that provide views over the harbour in Auckland. So the kind of main challenges that kind of our engineers got involved in were the tower obviously had to be resistant against wind, and then obviously being in Auckland, resistant to earthquakes. So our engineers kind of worked with the architects to design a structure that provided that structural strength. So using things like viscous dampers across the structure. So yeah, you can kind of see the range of kind of expertise that are involved in that. Quite a lot of them are from Mott MacDonald. And then we just got next slide, please, Ryan. Just another example. So staying down under, this one was in Australia. So this was to redevelop, I think it's a cricket and a football stadium. So this involved kind of key features such as the 3 stands were kind of designed as individual pavilions. It was a 50,000 seater It included things such as new bars and food courts, kind of 3 television studios, radio booths, etc. And actually it also involved building a pedestrian bridge across the nearby river to kind of link up Adelaide city centre with the Oval. So yeah, I tried to pick kind of building related ones there, and I think next slide, please. I think it's just an actual photo of the inside of it. So yeah.
Okay. So a couple of more facts on the company. So we employ over 1,000 UK graduates throughout. I think it's over 14 offices. I think 4 of them are in Scotland, in Glasgow, Edinburgh, Inverness, and I think in one of the islands as well. So these are graduates in all sorts of disciplines. So we have graduate schemes in civil and structural engineering, electrical and mechanical. There's project management, quantity surveying, process engineering as well. There's a lot more, and you'll be able to see them on the website. So you can see there, 1.4 billion turnover last year. I think that will probably be affected massively, obviously, with the current pandemic. Our graduate, whenever you join as a graduate, we have a graduate program that lasts 3 years. So you're mentored and supported by senior members of staff while also going in various courses throughout the UK, where you meet other graduates and learn various skills to help you in your day-to-day job. So it's also an employee-owned company. So I think certain grades of employees actually hold shares in the company. And so it kind of makes it that wee bit more stable. And obviously any profits into the company are then tried to be given back to employees. It also wins a lot of awards. So apparently 525 awards in the past 6 years. So this includes project managers and quantity surveyors of the year, women in construction awards, and BIM project of the year. And there's definitely a lot more in there. So as you can see, we're a massive company with offices all over the world. So there's over 200 offices, and you can see every little black dot there is an office. So there's and obviously the numbers of employees there as well. So there's worldwide opportunities within Mott MacDonald. So even working in the Belfast office, you still can find yourself working with teams in Australia or Singapore. In the Glasgow office, there was projects in the Middle East. Similarly, I think the Cambridge office has work in the Caribbean, Africa, and throughout Asia as well. So you can find yourself, due to the global presence and interlinked with other teams throughout the world, you can find yourself working with world-leading experts. And even if they're the other side of the world, it's very easy to connect with them through our internal systems. So many of our big UK projects are also supported by big design centres, for example in India. So this kind of allows a 24 input in the major projects due to the different time zones. So one of the projects I worked on, this was 2 years ago, I started in this project. So this was we were tasked with replacing a section of the Haweswater Aqueduct in England. So the Haweswater Aqueduct is a 56-mile underground aqueduct, and it was built in the 1950s to supply Greater Manchester with potable water. So the aqueduct now supplies 570 megalitres per day to the area. So we were tasked with replacing a small section of the overall aqueduct, so 2.5 kilometres in Kendal, and we were replacing it with 4 lines of steel pipes. So you can see from the photo, the one on the far left there, the 4 pipelines. So each pipe was about 1.6 meters in diameter and 14 meters long. So you can see on the right there, someone could easily fit inside one of the pipes, and you can see the storage there of the sheer size of them. So the project was around 2.5 years, and the new pipelines have just been connected to the existing aqueduct. So this was as part of Mott MacDonald has another company, Mott MacDonald Bentley, in which we're involved in a lot of design and build contracts. So Mott MacDonald would do the design aspects, and Bentley would be the construction aspect, but obviously working very interlinked. So I think in total it was 750 pipes had to be delivered, installed and welded at the asset. So it was quite a big effort to get everything finished.
So this is just a little slide about me. I won't go into too much depth being an electrical engineer, but I graduated last year from Edinburgh University. Here's some boos there, but I did a master's in electrical and mechanical engineering, actually, a joint honours degree. And as kind of part of this degree, I did a 6-month undergrad placement at Mott MacDonald back in 2018, and that ended up being extended to a 9-month placement. So, and I found it quite common, speaking to graduates at Mott MacDonald, it's quite a common thing for folk to be doing summer placements and coming back as graduates. And it was all around just a good experience, just to get involved in projects and dealing with clients and getting involved in the design work and being part of interdisciplinary teams. So last September I rejoined as a graduate. And yeah, so being based in Edinburgh, the majority of our work is obviously with Scottish Water. But kind of as Ryan said, being a global company ourselves, there is scope to work for multiple clients, which is the kind of benefit of being a part of this company, is you get to learn from different countries and different, well, for us, different utility companies. So I've had some experience working down south for Thames Water and United Utilities. So at Mott MacDonald, there's a big push for chartership. So you are encouraged to get a chartership mentor who'll let you be the proactive one, but there's plenty of chartered engineers that are willing to give you advice and support in making sure you hit those competencies. So yeah, that's kind of a big driver there. So at the moment, I'm working towards being chartered with the IET. I'm assuming a lot of you guys will be with the ICE. So yeah, that's another benefit of working for Mott MacDonald. There's a big push for that, and there's a kind of good network of graduates and early careers professionals working towards the same thing. So you've got plenty of colleagues in the same position. So yeah, that kind of leads me on to this, and Ryan's kind of already touched on it as well. When you join Mott MacDonald, you're part of a 3-year program. So that involves quite a lot of courses, do with kind of presentation skills and soft skills, and general networking. So last October, I think it was, when I first joined, I was down for a kind of 2-day residential event with probably 60 or 70 other graduates from around the UK. And it was just a good experience I was meeting people that weren't even necessarily engineers that worked for the company. So it's quite a good way to work out in what Mott MacDonald work in, and just a good way to network and develop those relationships from people from different offices and sectors. So yeah, I've kind of already touched on the professional development and the chartership, but Mott MacDonald is quite a sociable company. There's a kind of high range of people. It's got quite a lot of graduate intake each year, so you do generally find that in each of the offices there's quite a good hub of young people, and the kind of social aspect of things is quite good. So yeah, I don't know, Ryan, if you want to add anything else to that.
Yeah, I think with the social aspect, again, they're quite good with trying to link up offices. So for example, every year, well, apart from this year, there's a sports day in the UK. So every office, submits a team. You go down. I think the one I went to was in Leeds. So you had offices from Glasgow was there, Edinburgh was there, Bristol, Croydon, Cambridge, and you compete in different events. So there was touch rugby, there was football, cycling, there was all sorts. But again, it's a good opportunity to network and meet other people from offices, while also kind of having a good bit of fun playing sports. And there's a big dinner and stuff as well. But and again, for graduates, like Calum had said, that residential weekend, there's lots of good opportunities to network and actually have a good time while you're doing it. I don't know if do you have anything else to kind of add on that slide, Calum?
Not particularly. No, I think I covered most of it. Yeah. So yeah, the application process. So I'm not sure whether folk are looking for summer internships or full-time graduate positions, but I think the deadlines are roughly the same. It's imminent. It's quite. Mott MacDonald do close their applications quite early, so it's in the next week or two. I think that applications close. Was it the 22nd, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that's
for a lot of them.
What we were told.
Yeah. So if you are thinking of applying for summer internships for next summer or for graduate places next year, I'd recommend the best place to go is just the Mott MacDonald website. There should be a early careers kind of page where you can essentially, it's almost like a search engine, and I'm always surprised at how many jobs there are and how many different things you can get involved in. So you can search in relation to kind of where you want to work and also what type of area you want to work in. So I think it's an online application to start, and it will be strength-based questions. That kind of takes form in the online side of things. There's no, as far as I know, there's no real assessment centres. It's mostly a interview with generally maybe 2 or 3 people, and those people will most likely be your line manager and probably a potential colleague of yours. It just depends what team it is. So generally the person that's interviewing will be the person that will be your line manager. So it's quite a good way to get to know them. So it's relatively simple. It's online application and then the interview, and then fingers crossed an offer comes at the end of that. I don't know. I know the application process has changed slightly in the past couple of years, so I can't speak on behalf of the new system, but I don't know if you have anything to add, Ryan.
No, I know they have changed some of the strength-based assessments, but I think it is fairly similar to what obviously the two of us had to do. But I think I found, in comparison to applying for a lot of other places, it was relatively straightforward. We didn't have the need to go to big assessment centres. It was all kind of done online, and the interviews are done with Mott MacDonald closing their applications quite early. Interviews are then usually done before February or March time. So you can kind of, if you get an offer, you kind of know you have a job relatively early. That's my experience anyway. So yeah, but if you are looking to apply, I would get on it pretty soon, because I think it is really the next week or two that the applications will close. So yeah, so that's all from us. I don't know if Annie or Ben, you've questions for us, or what's next?
Hi. Yeah, thank you very much, Ryan, Calum. That was absolutely great. Yes, we do have some questions that are pre-prepared, and then hopefully we've got a couple of questions on the comments of the live stream. Yeah, so Hamish Alexander has asked, what graduate schemes do you offer?
Loads. There's absolutely loads. Like I had a look before this at what we were offering on the website. So you've got your kind of standard engineering ones like civil and electrical, but there's other things, acoustic engineering, there's process engineering, landscape architects, geotechnical engineers, fire engineers, quantity surveying, project management, building services. There's loads.
That's another thing that's great to know, because recently the society has changed from like a civil engineering based society, and now we've opened it up to the built environment. So hopefully, I know for a fact that a lot of people that are in the audience just now, all come from different backgrounds that are all within the built environment. So that's good to know that they've also got the option with Mott MacDonald to sort of access these different charterships.
Yeah, well, I think obviously with the different grad schemes, not all offices in the UK obviously take on. For example, I think the acoustic engineering is only, I think it was Southampton and London and I think maybe Newcastle, but it's not one in some of the Scottish offices. So you just kind of need to be aware of that. But within Mott MacDonald, the opportunities are there.
Yeah. Got a next question.
Yeah, So Darren has asked, what key points do you look for in students' applications for a graduate programme?
It's hard to do. I suppose obviously Calum and I haven't interviewed anyone. We're only fairly new in the company. From my experience, when I interviewed, they were looking for someone that was kind of pretty flexible in what they wanted to do. Would be happily kind of willing to adapt to a role, which obviously worked well for me. Not really coming out of uni and not really knowing what I wanted to actually specialize in or what industry I wanted to go in. I just kind of wanted a job. So I think it really depends. I don't really know. Obviously, Calum, you did a summer placement, so they obviously knew who you were when you asked for a job.
Yeah, I guess I came kind of through a different path of, I did an interview as part of my placement, but I think for in terms of the placement, they were thinking forward and thinking, does this person want to come back and, you know, learn during the 6 months of the placement, but come back as a graduate. And I think, yeah, they're always interested to hear kind of what your plans are long term, and see the likelihood is that Mott MacDonald could fulfill that just because of the number of things and places you could work in. So, and then again, I've already kind of mentioned it, but I know that they like people that are keen to push for chartership as well, is another thing that I know a lot of line managers are keen to hear. But
just a quick one from me, from yourself, Calum. Obviously, you going through a different process into the where you are now, going through maybe as you started as a summer placement. What do you know what the process is for students just now, how they can apply or how they can get in touch with someone about a summer placement with Mott MacDonald?
So again, those opportunities should be online. There's probably no point me trying to guess what summer placements are. It differs every year, but for the majority of the time, I think Mott MacDonald are pretty good at offering summer placements and placements in general. As I kind of mentioned earlier, the number of people that I've met that have said they've done 3 summer placements in a row and just come back as a graduate kind of thing isn't uncommon. So the best place to go really is the early careers section of the Mott MacDonald website to see what there is. And I mean, if you're flexible in terms of being able to move places, then that makes it a whole lot easier in the sense that if you want to move into something that's down south, or I think there's summer placements abroad as well, potentially. I don't know, Ryan, if I'm talking rubbish there. But
no idea about summer placements abroad, but I think Annie's asked a question there about moving offices. I suppose that kind of ties into that of, yes, Mott MacDonald have been quite good with, they want to hold on to people. So, for example, I've moved 3 offices in 3 years for various reasons. So they're keen to hold on to people. I know people that have moved from Glasgow to New Zealand, from Belfast to Glasgow. So there's opportunities everywhere. People that have gone and worked in the south of France. So that they'd rather hold on to people rather than lose them and keep them within the company. That seems to be the priority.
And I think it's kind of down to you as well to be proactive. And if you want something to happen, then you need to make the connections and knock on the door, if you want to say that. But yeah, I mean, there was a couple of people in my team that were just before COVID, actually, supposed to be moving to the US and New Zealand. And I think the company is getting a lot better at kind of teams across different regions of the world speaking to each other. So I'm kind of part of the early careers professional kind of cohort, where I'm kind of under someone that's working in Dubai at the moment, and kind of just getting those links with people from across the world is just quite useful. But yeah, as Ryan said, it's definitely possible. So it's something that you could definitely speak to your line manager about, and it's been done, and it seems to be becoming more and more common. So yeah.
Next question. Is there another one? Oh, I think you're muted, Annie.
Sorry. What support does the company have for people who want to get their chartership? Which is being covered, but
yeah, it's really encouraged. I think whenever I joined, it was I don't know, it almost felt like the next step. You graduate and then you want to get chartered, and it's really encouraged. So
Yeah.
for civil engineers, you get put on what's called a training agreement. So you get assigned a supervising engineer to kind of support you. And with ICE, it's, you tick off a lot of attributes. So it's really just kind of helping get you the right work to tick these things off and make sure you're obviously doing it correctly. And then when you get to the stage of actually, applying for your interview to sit for chartership, they actively encourage you meet with other people throughout the UK and do different courses to help you with that, sit in practice interviews, do practice presentations. So it's really encouraged. But again, like Calum's kind of been saying, it's on you to be proactive with it. Nobody's going to force you to do it, but they will. They want you to do it.
Yeah,
And,
so that's definitely, sorry, Calum. That's one thing that's happened with myself. I've recently been offered a graduate job with Coastain, and I'll be starting next year. And I'm just wanting to leave uni and earn money, basically. So I've not really looked into chartership stuff, and I've not really spoke to the company themselves about charterships. It's always been something that I've thought I've been pushed, like even by the uni and different students that are a bit older than me, to definitely go for it, join the ICE. But there's part of me that's just like, I just want to get in, start working, and earn money again.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure, like, what are the, obviously there's massive benefits getting chartership. There's probably more money when you're chartered as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you become more employable. You something that says you're good at your job, basically. Yeah, I don't really know what more to say on it. It's really encouraged to do, and there's always the kind of the support available. You kind of were saying, I suppose, about even though you're working and not maybe focusing on your chartership, you're definitely gaining the experience to, again, tick your attributes off.
Yeah. I think, sorry, Ryan, when you go.
No, you go ahead. It's fine.
I was just going to say, in terms of if you're thinking of going abroad and going to places like Australia or New Zealand, then I know that being chartered will help a lot in trying to get into those kind of countries to work there and move there. So, but I found that chartership it can be, because we have like annual reviews with the line managers that I think are more frequent now, but a lot of it is based on, if you want it to be, it can be based on how you're kind of developing towards chartership, and it almost kind of sets you your targets for the following year. And I'm missing gaps in project management or whatever competency it is for whatever institution it is, but so it's kind of a good way anyway. Aiming towards chartership is quite a good way to it's, especially at the early stages of being a graduate, it's quite a good way to get access and get experience in different things. So I'd definitely say it's worthwhile. And also, you do get a pay rise as soon as you get chartered, so that's another incentive.
But it's not just civil and electrical. There's project management chartership schemes. I think quantity surveyors as well have their own body. So it is, there's all kind of job roles have their own kind of chartership aspect.
For everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've definitely found that, I know you were talking about like Mott MacDonald can offer going abroad and stuff, and that obviously that's amazing. All the work like in Dubai and stuff is massive with engineering. I've definitely found that most of the work that I've tried to get involved in is all down south. Like most of the work within Scotland isn't as great as it is down south. I don't know if you guys have experienced the same.
I think it depends on what sector you're kind of working in. With Scottish Water, there's definitely lots of projects there. I suppose I can already talk for the water projects, but similarly, I think water's a big one that the governments are trying to invest in, especially over in Northern Ireland. So there's huge projects here that are becoming potentially going to be available. England, I was involved in a big water project there. I suppose I suppose engineering, you think of your big buildings and structures. Obviously, that's not really what's going to happen in Scotland with so many cities already really built up. So really, I think it depends on what you're really looking for.
What avenue you're going to go down? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. So is there another question? I'm not sure how many is on this on the questions.
Yeah, so we've had this question from a couple people. How's your workplace adjusted to keep working during COVID? Which I guess, as you both can join us from different places, is quite a benefit.
Yeah. This call right now is COVID related.
Yeah, I think I don't know about you, Ryan, but I think the company dealt with it quite well. And interesting, I think so. We were rolling out smart work. They called it smart working back out in January, which was essentially to move away from the rigid 9 till 5 in the office Monday, Friday. And if you need to work from home a day a week, then that's fine. And they're trying to be a bit more flexible. But COVID essentially just accelerated that. And obviously everyone's working permanently from home at the moment, pretty much. I think some of the offices were opened a few months ago, but interestingly, the Edinburgh office, we're downsizing as we speak. We've left the office that we were in before COVID, and in January we'll be moving to an office about half the size. So they've taken quite a proactive approach into reducing the office size, and I think they're expecting people to work from home, essentially to be the new norm. So in that sense, it's been quite good. I know that different parts of the company because we work in so many different areas, different parts have seen different hits. So the water industry's stayed pretty stable. We've actually done pretty well this year overall. Because as you know, everyone needs to drinking water and wastewater needs treated. So in that sense, it's quite a stable industry to be in. I know other parts of the company probably aren't as fortunate as us. So I can't comment on them as much. But in terms of the way we've been working, it's been pretty good. Don't know if you have anything else to add, Ryan.
Yeah, but I suppose we all work off laptops, so we have the kind of opportunity to be really agile, and we've always had that option. But like Calum said, it's all kind of been accelerated to encourage us to work from home more, and make it easier for people to actually do. So it's like I really enjoy it. I kind of enjoy not having to travel into an office, and you can find myself more productive at times. So it's been the company's been really good for it. Yeah. And similarly, they've been quite transparent with what they're doing, with how the company's performing, what we're kind of trying to do to keep the company moving, obviously with recessions and financial issues. So they're quite good at actually talking to us. So I think it's maybe every month we have a call with senior staff just to relay what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, even more so just now. There's definitely been an even bigger push on the digital and remote working, as you're saying. And there was already that push there, but with COVID, it's definitely accelerated things, and everyone's been kind of forced into working this way. But it's definitely, it seems like it's going to be the new normal.
Yeah, and we're kind of being actively encouraged. If you don't want to go into an office, don't bother. That kind of seems to be the message from senior management at the minute, which is nice to hear.
Yeah, it gives everyone the option. It's flexible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, any more questions?
Okay, this one's come live. So Rorie Watson is watching. Hello, Rorie. What has been the most interesting project you have been involved in?
Calum, you only do electrical, so.
I'm electrical, so no one wants to hear it.
Yeah. So the most interesting one I've been involved was Hallbank, which I touched on in the presentation. So that was a really big project. It was critical infrastructure for United Utilities in England. So it kind of, it's one of these projects where you can actually see you're on site. You can see the kind of the big, I'd say big structures, not quite, but you can see the pipes going into the ground. I was working a lot with the construction teams. So I find that you learned a lot. You learned very quickly. You were involved in quite a lot. And So I find that really interesting. Strenuous, lots of stress, lots to do, but at the same time, it was a really good experience, and I worked with a lot of people, which was great.
Look, Calum, do you have even an electrical? We're open to all.
I'd go down a similar route. Sorry, what was that?
No, I just with the built environment, kind of now that the society's opened up to everyone within the built environment, we could have possible electrical engineers and more than just civil engineers anyway involved.
Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, quite a lot of the Scottish Water work has been kind of small, high-level projects, but I think there's kind of one major one that I was involved in that was, again, similar to Ryan in the sense that it's called the Treated Water Storage Mission. So it was good in that you'd go onto site with contractors and be speaking to the people that were actually going to be doing what you were designing. So in that sense, it was quite interesting. So it just meant kind of liaising with the kind of main project managers from their side to make sure that they understood what we were proposing. There's quite a lot of scope with. I know Scottish Water in particular are driving towards kind of being carbon neutral and reducing their carbon footprint. So there's quite a lot of scope in there to kind of propose things such as, solar energy and moving away from diesel generators and things like that. So not to bore you with too much electrical things, but yeah, I quite enjoying it's not just the challenge of designing it, it's trying to design it keeping the footprint low, and that's something that's been pushed as almost as great importance as the money aspect. So that's what we've been told anyway. So
yeah, both sound incredibly interesting. I think we have one more question, and then excuse me, if anyone has questions they want to type in quickly before we end. So again from Rorie, are there ways that you're implementing the use of BIM into the design, construction and maintenance of your assets?
Yes, yeah, BIM's used for everything, and with especially the bigger projects. I don't really know a huge amount about it, but I'll try. For especially the bigger projects, it's definitely used for keeping track of things. I think is a BIM 360 is used. The biggest part I know about it, or I've seen the most of it, is the BIM modeling. So, for example, the Hallbank project, the technicians had built quite a big BIM model. You could then go in and use the virtual headsets and actually see what scale of pipes, like how big things are going to look in trenches, how certain machinery would work to fit it. And so we could do all this in the design stage and work out any tweaks from there. Similarly for a service reservoir, you could put on your virtual headset, you can see how different pumps might work, how operations are going to be able to use different instrumentation while out on site. Are pipes too low down where someone's going to bang their head? That loads of kind of safety things. I suppose the technology aspect, there's lots of drones being used to map certain areas. I can't even think of the name of it. But it's definitely very present, and it's becoming a lot bigger, especially with the bigger scale projects. I don't really know if that answers the question, but hopefully.
I'd say BIM's been about for quite a while, and now most companies are just starting to see even more advantages of using it, and it's definitely becoming more, again, digitalization within the industry is massive. So using BIM is definitely a massive advantage for most companies. And
I think we've plenty of plans for using it. I suppose even document control, like two people able to work on a document at the same time, that sort of thing. So it definitely speeds up the process, and it allows everyone to work a bit more collaboratively, especially when you've got you're potentially working with people from different time zones as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is there any more, or was that our last question?
Don't think we've got any more. If any more come up as we say goodbye, we can probably squeeze them in.
One more question. Just from my own experience of working with different companies, different sort of placements and stuff that I've done over the past 2 years, when I've moved in to the office or whatever, I've then been sent out with another graduate engineer or my line manager, and we've been working with like the surveying equipment and stuff. See, with this kind of work, it got to the point where the graduate engineers, I've spoke to some of them that were working on the same project, and it's been sort of assumed by the company that, yeah, they definitely know what they're doing with all this equipment. There's a level we go out and set a string line out for me on this carriageway or whatever. Is the Mott MacDonald, it is something I know that some of the companies I work with, they've been wanting to open up to new, like, not new, but sort of start training and encourage like graduates to go along to training days or events, for the graduates to learn more about using this equipment and learn more about using whatever. Is there something that Mott MacDonald?
Well, I suppose for us, we are primarily a consultancy.
Right.
So, you don't really have that going out on site and doing leveling, as far as I'm aware, because, we are mostly design based. But in terms of actually training courses, the graduate program, that you get put on for 3 years, there's lots of soft skill courses there. But even actively, there's a big like library of different courses you can go. You can apply to do various, I don't know, courses on really anything. And it's just a case again of speaking to line managers and asking to go, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to say yes. They really encourage people to, I suppose, better themselves, and they'll obviously help you in doing that.
Yeah, there are budgets in place for you to go out and do training. It's sometimes the case that you just need to kind of show the evidence of why you're doing it and what it's for. If it's going to benefit a project, then people are more than happy to give you some budget for it. So, so sometimes it's down to you. If you see something that you're interested in and think that will benefit the company, then yeah, it would just be a case of speaking to your line manager, and there are budgets in place for training. So
yeah, so that might even be that might even answer some of the worries that some students have when they're applying for jobs when they've graduated. They might be leaving thinking, I don't actually remember what I've done at uni.
Yeah, I think whenever I joined, I had that worry of, do I actually know what I'm doing on my first day? Like, have I actually learned anything? But you're not. I find you're not expected to come in and design something straight away. It's obviously very gradual, and they want to build you up, and it's a confidence thing as well. People want to give you the confidence that you can do this. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about thinking that you're going to be expected to be an absolute whiz of an engineer. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Is there any more questions, Annie? Do you see any? I don't even know where you look to see if there's any questions on this.
Yeah, no, there's no more questions come through. So I'd just like to say a massive thank you and really appreciated you being here and taking time out of your day. It's been very helpful.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, again from myself, this is the first event we've had with any company for this webinar that we've organised, and I from everything that we've went over, I'm sure everyone's gained a lot of information. For me, it's my first time even finding out about Mott MacDonald. I hadn't heard of them before, and obviously there's a wide range of like company work and different sort of avenues for students or graduates to go down, and it's definitely it's definitely opened my eyes to what more opportunities there are out there. Thanks again for coming along. Thank you for everyone that's watching. I can't see you, but I know you're there.
If there's any other questions as well, you've got our emails, so you can just fire us a line.
We'll put them up on our social media pages, and that will allow any students to get in touch regarding any further questions. They can even fire the questions to us, and we come to you and let you know. Thanks again to Fraser from ENSA. He's in the background right now, running the IT for this call. Again, with everything, the setup for this call, it's been great, and hopefully we won't have any more issues with my laptop for the further future. So again, thanks very much, Mott MacDonald, for coming along. For the next events that are coming up, we've got Coast next on the 20th, and we have, who else is it?
Sweco?
No, Sweco next year. Oh, what's their name? Morrison Construction. That's it. We have Morrison Construction, or the previous owner of Morrison Construction will be presenting after Coasting as well. So stay tuned on the social media pages, and you will find out more information about that. And that's the end of Mott MacDonald's webinar for this year. Hopefully we can invite you back again for more events. But if it wasn't for COVID, obviously we'd have this as a face-to-face event, and we would be in a lecture theatre somewhere at the university. So again, thank you very much, guys. Thank you everyone for watching.
You.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Cheers. See you again soon. Thank you.
Cheers.